Hello there. We are dredging war graves. Hundreds of World War II airmen and centuries of seafarers, including those of HMS Cumberland, lie entombed beneath Goodwin Sands. 2,000 ships and tens of thousands of people. But now the Crown Estates are eyeing it for profit. And King Charles, he waves us off with a referral. Fallen heroes be damned. From The Guardian. Running riot through graves. King Charles urged to protect Goodwin Sands from dredging. Crown Estate owns seabed of treacherous sandbank off Kent that has entombed more than 2,000 shipwrecks. And it goes on to say, campaigners fear this unique area is now at risk from destructive dredging for building sand and aggregate. They are appealing to the Crown Estate, which owns the seabed, and calling on King Charles for support to protect an area rich in maritime and cultural heritage. So there you have it. We have an area of the sea just to the south of Kent, to the south of the Isles of Thanet, and we're going to be dredging in there, or we have been dredging in there before. A contract was given out, and I think at the last minute it was they went elsewhere for the sand and the aggregate. But the thing is that there are war graves there, and they move with the sand. So you can't say it's exactly there. They move about. So you need to blanket the whole thing off. And that's what they're calling for. But I'm not sure that this is going to happen, because the king has sort of basically, or his staff have said, well, it's nothing to do with us. It's the Crown Estates, not us. But he doesn't seem to want to back the call for stopping all of this. And this is our heritage, our military heritage. And he is the head of the armed forces, isn't he, Richard?
Absolutely, Jeff. There's nothing like the support of your monarch to his troops and his fallen naval officers and naval seamen, just to reassure you, to let you know that Britain's in a wonderful place and the king's got your back and that he cares about our fallen. I mean, I read this and I was like, oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, as you said, it's Goodwin Sands, which is just off the Kent coast. It's not a million miles away. We're not talking about war graves in some other part of the world. No, good grief. And, I just can't believe that it would be quite just so flippantly batted across to the Crown Estate, At the end of the day, you have King Charles who lays wreaths on land, and like at the 80th commemoration of Victory in Japan Day, VJ Day, you had Charles and Camilla there, laying the wreaths. It's so wonderful what you did. And he stood with the veterans, and he was, he appeared to be quite moved, and Camilla had wiped a tear. And yet, when you've got the war dead actually just off the coast of Britain, clearly nothing matters. It doesn't matter. It's, oh, okay, we'll just dredge, and it makes you wonder why King Charles would be so happy with that. Because all this sand has been used for what? What are they going to be doing with it? What are they building with it? What exactly are they going to be building with it? What? New houses for newcomers, maybe? Yes. Houses for newcomers, potentially. Well, King Charles does like newcomers coming here, doesn't he? He loves it, says we need to be more welcoming to them. Yes. Jeff, yes. It just makes me feel sick, to be honest with you, because you've got a monarch that he's supposed to be the head of the armed forces. And he's supposed to have sympathy and care about the families of the fallen. There was, this is World War II. A lot of these graves are from, Jeff,
Yeah. Yes, and here's a map of where it is. This is a very old map. You can see the Isle of Thanet, and you can see part of Kent, it says there, and the Goodwin Sands are down to the south. And there's loads of old pictures about this area, because it is very treacherous to seafarers, and it's had its own lightship there. And also it's very famous for breaking ships up, as you can see from this one. So yes. So you can see that it's not a good place for seafarers. And if we're just looking at the Goodwin Sands, there is a Goodwin Sands Conservation Trust. And that is the body that wants the Crown Estate to stop dredging for sand and aggregate over the 10-mile sandbank. And the Guardian report says it has a marine protected area status, and it's had that since 2019. But when the trust wrote to the palace about this, they were told to contact the Crown Estates. Don't bother the palace, go to the Crown Estates. Now, the Crown Estates is a collection of lands and holdings in the UK which belongs to the UK monarch as a corporation sole. That makes it the sovereign's public estate, which is neither government property nor is it part of the monarch's private estate. And the Crown Estate in England, Wales and Northern Ireland is managed by the Crown Estate Commissioners, also known as the Crown Estate. In Scotland, the Crown Estate is managed by the Crown Estate of Scotland as part of devolution. But as far as I'm concerned, surely as the head of our armed forces, the King should be keen to prevent war graves being desecrated. And as I said, the sand moves about. There is a chance that if you say, well, that's clear of war graves, we'll go in there and take some sand, the graves move about. The stuff moves about under there. And it is covered by the Protection of Military Remains Act, actually, 1986. And according to the Goodwin Sands Conservation Trust, the Goodwin Sands contain the final resting places of sailors lost in battle, servicemen from both world wars, and the remains of ships, submarines and aircraft they died in, including some 80 British, German and Polish pilots who gave their lives in World War II. So, surely we should just say, right, no more dredging there and let's just leave it.
Oh, well said, Jeff. I mean, you just summarised the whole thing there quite nicely, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. Something else about King. You mentioned Scotland there. I just came across something actually in the National the National Scotland, and it says here SNP MSPs bid to drop Hollywood oath of allegiance to King Charles. Well, I can see you can understand why. Now, previously you'd have gone, oh, that's just the Scots nuts. They don't anything to do. They just want independence and anything to do with the monarchy because it represents their oppression, which it does really, I suppose. That's the only way to read it. However, anyway, but Nicola Sturgeon, I was watching something with her the other day, and she said, granted, she wants independence, but she always had an incredible respect for Her Majesty the Queen. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of the Queen's either, but there we go, lots of people are. Yet, the opinion towards Charles seems to be very different now. The mood in the country towards Charles is turning ugly very, very fast. People can see right through him. You can see where his allegiances lie. This is the king of what, exactly? Who does he represent? Is he the King of Britain? Oh, okay. Well, why doesn't he represent the British? This is awful. This is a betrayal, in effect, what's taking place at these sands. It's a betrayal of memory. That's what it is. That's the thing you have to sort of get into your mind. For those who died for this country, because it's all well and good sort of going to these ceremonies and sort of giving lip service. Thank you for your contribution to society and to keeping us safe, and the sacrifice you and others made in World War II. We can't never pay it back type thing. Yeah, and at the same time, oh yes, over there, look at this, lots of sand. Yes, we can build houses. Yes, plough through the lot of the buggers. That's the angle that you're getting from this. That's the optics on it. Thanks, Mr. King.
Yeah. Someone's noticed that you've shaved, Richard.
I have indeed. Like a sprightly 74-year-old. Thank you very much indeed. No, I have to. Yes. I had to shave. One of the reasons I shave sometimes, do the lot, is if I think, well, I'm going to grow a beard back. To grow a beard back is never the same if you've got the goatee a different length. I'm not going through all that rubbish. Yeah. Get off with it, and then back comes the beard. There
yes. You go. Now, going back to what you were talking about, the SNP. So in Holyrood, they're going to not swear allegiance to the king. And that's the SNP. But I bet you their SNP MPs will still swear the oath of allegiance in the House of Commons. And the reason for that is if they don't, they can't sit there.
Exactly. No,
so
exactly.
they will be banned. So that they will be play acting up in Scotland in Holyrood, but leaving their MPs to come into the House of Commons and swear the oath. I mean, what a ridiculous thing! And the reason it was quite funny that the whole reason they started talking about keeping the king as the head of state of Scotland, even if they got independence, they were actually talking about that, was so they could allow themselves to swear allegiance to the king so they could sit in the House of Commons.
Yeah.
So,
so just going back to this Wargrave thing, I mean, this king is meant to be a defender of the faith and defender of this, that, and the other, but he hasn't been he won't defend Wargraves. He won't defend ex-servicemen who are sleeping on the streets, will he? Where is he?
No,
Where is he?
Yeah.
He hasn't defended the girls who are had to suffer awful things at the hands of certain people from a different demographic, you will say. And he hasn't stood up. And has he gone to see the victims and spoken to them? Maybe he has to one or two. But, I mean, has he actually gone to... Wow, gosh, what was that thing that Rupert Lowe did before Parliament? I can't remember the name of it now. That event he held, trying to unify people, Anyway, where was the king's support for any of this? And yet, you do find that what were they called? The spider letters, wasn't it, Jeff?
Yeah.
The letters which he wrote when he was Prince Charles to government, sort of campaigning towards environmental issues, global warming, and all that kind of thing, and farming and architecture as well. These are things which he would speak out against and he would get involved in. And he'll get involved with the WEF with other things, but Wargraves, this is a type of loyalty which a monarch should hold to the war dead. And it shouldn't be optional. This is something which should be sacred, Jeff. And that's the key. Again, another oath, yes. another oath which has been sort of broken, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, when you look at this particular area and do a bit of digging, and you find out, I mean, there's a lot of artwork on it as well, and a lot of photography from all sorts of places. So, giving the idea of how treacherous that particular area is, and this one here, when I looked at that, I believe is a lifeboat back in the day, 300 years ago, whenever it was. Going out to rescue someone, you just see, I mean, that is some big storm, isn't it, really? And battles and all sorts. So it's got a lot of history there.
Oh, yeah. This is our culture. History. Britain, rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. I seem to remember hearing that somewhere. And this is all very much a part of our heritage. That's the thing. It's like it's fine to run roughshod right through our heritage, right through our culture, our heritage, what it means to be British. There'll be the buggers will be banning Morris dancing next. Do you know what I mean? It's just awful. And yeah.
Yeah, someone's Lord Viking Live says Charles de Gaulle would have been a better king, and he's French.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yes. Well, what's Charles? I mean, other than inbred, what is he? Good grief. Yeah. Greek, isn't it?
Charlie is half the man his sister is, says James Jameson. Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. Everyone keeps talking about Princess Anne.
Princess Anne is so dedicated and just gets on with the job. And that's how it should be done, really, I think.
I mean, I'm not a fan of this particular royal family per se whatsoever. I do believe we should have a king. I've said that many a time. A good Christian king who will stand up for this country, and it wouldn't be frightened to do so. But yes, Anne would have been a better choice. But I don't know her that well. I mean, this is public perception once again.
Which means you don't know her that well.
well, I don't know her at all, actually. Well, that means which isn't very well.
Correct.
So yeah.
Yes.
Not knowing someone well does actually include not knowing them at all. So,
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Jeb McCrown says no one can own a seabed. Well, for the sake of the nation, someone has to, I suppose. Otherwise, you can't put down cables. You can't put down all sorts of stuff. You can't put down protective barriers. You can't. Someone has to own them. Has to own it, and we do own out to a certain level, and we own our what's it called, the economic exclusion zone out to 200 miles. If there is no other land in the way, or we share it out to the middle line. So I think we have to have someone own the seabed, and the Crown Estate is the body that does own it as a body. Well, actually, the monarch owns it, as I explained, but he doesn't own it personally. He owns it for us. Yeah.
Oh, good grief. Yeah.
So it's all very convoluted.
Well, exactly.
If we had
that's what it is. Yes, it is convoluted.
And
that's the correct word.
Actually, the profits, I believe, do go to the state, not to the actual crown, as it were. It's all very complicated, isn't it? That's why a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King Charles owning the seabed. I can tell you something now. Aquaman wouldn't be happy with that. Not at all. He's king of Atlantis.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, this as Andrew Weedendale, sorry. If the Goodwin Sands is the crown, surely it's ours. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. It is ours. It does belong to the state as such, but it's all looked after by the Crown Estate commissioners or whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another thing here. The king hasn't said anything about the flags, has he? He hasn't come out. He said we have to take more people in, didn't he? He said welcome everybody, but he's not talking about looking after our heritage while we do so, which is almost impossible. It's impossible to protect our heritage, our way of life, at the rate at which people are coming in, and no one seems to care. No one at the top, no one in the establishment, from the king down, seems to care about that. How much change is being made? Yeah.
Well, he's got selective loyalty, Jeff. That's the thing. You think his remembrance, everything that goes on there, it's incredibly hollow. And his duty, to be honest with you, I think is quite conditional towards the British people. We have a monarch at the end of the day who is by the looks of it, who will not defend the dignity of the dead. So how can we trust him to be? How can he be trusted to safeguard Britain's living? That's what he's meant to do, isn't it? This constitutional monarch, step in when things are not looking good for the country, almost like a sort of modern day King Arthur. Yes. When the time is right, the nation will call for him. And well,
it is quite funny that he does have a role in that, and I think that's the private discussions he should be having with the Prime Minister whenever they meet for their hour or 2 hour meeting every week. I'm sure that's still going on. Now,
what exactly? What do people think? What do people think they talk about? Cricket? They are talking about matters of state. So there's this whole thing about the monarch being constitutional monarch and uninvolved and remaining outside of politics is a misnomer. Sorry, that's not the case. If you're meeting with the Prime Minister and talking about events that are going to be global and domestic, there's going to be an input from the King for obvious reasons. There we go. Jeff, sorry.
Yeah, and as I was saying, he makes pronouncements about certain things, but not others. It should either be both or neither. And if he wants to do both, then we need to be voting him in as a president, if you get my drift. Now, the other thing is, not a lot of people know this, but you've all heard of royal assent, haven't you? Where an act of parliament becomes law because the king or their representative signs the act of parliament to bring it into force. That's called royal assent. There is another thing called royal consent. And when certain acts of parliament are going through the House of Commons, yep, it has to have royal consent to proceed if it interferes with the monarch's position financially or legally or whatever. So they have to give royal consent. And this is a quiet little nod that's given to the Speaker by the minister presenting the act at one of the readings. They have to give the nod. Yes, we have royal consent, but without saying anything. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Very good point, Jeff. Happened. Absolutely spot on. Just a comment here from Ashley Styles. Look into red heifers, then start putting two and two together. 10 steps ahead of you there. But thank you. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yes, and Toby Wonkadachi, thank you very much. Not my king, he's a traitor to this nation. Never been a royalist, but now I absolutely despise them. To quote Monty Python, I didn't vote for him. Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, spot
That's a very
on.
good
Yes,
point,
thank
isn't
you.
it? Yeah.
Very good point, actually.
Yes. Yeah, he's no better than Andrew. Yeah, this is the thing. If they just shut up, and they're given a whole life of privilege just to shut up, go and open a bridge. And,
well, there are those people. I do know of people who would say that he is worse than Andrew, and I can't say in what way, but just worse than Andrew. Yeah, I'll say no more because I can't say any more on that. There we go. Hearsay, just hearsay.
ShamPQ6VO says he talks to flowers. So do I, to be honest.
Well, I congratulations on. I mean, you can have a better conversation with a daffodil, I can tell you now, than most people out there. That's my sort of experience of life. Yeah.
Yep. Fergie should seize the throne immediately. Right, there you go.
Well, I've always said, I don't know why, I've had this gut instinct that one day, what's the one with the red hair, that Andrew's daughter? She could be queen. I reckon she's going to be queen.
Right, yeah.
I reckon it's going to happen. Yeah.
Right.
Don't know why, gut instinct.
I just don't know, when looking at the royal family these days, which one's which. They've got some youngsters and some in the middle and some are very old. And that's about as far as it goes for me these days, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I tell you what, I tell you I've warmed to, even though, again, I despise the entire family, to be honest with you. And that's Prince Edward. The only reason I've warmed to him is he just seems to be less of a than all the others. Yeah, that's about it, really, Jeff.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
He's gone up. He's gone up in my estimation just because he's not so much of a. Yeah.
Oh dear! Brick by brick, the house will crumble. The trouble is that brick by brick, it's taken the whole of the UK with it. So it's really not, not very good, is it, really?
Well, King Charles seems quite happy with the situation. He's more than happy with what's going on in his country, clearly. Otherwise, he'd be speaking out against it and about it. As I said, he'd write his little spider letters.
He'd be taking... there was a story once that during Margaret Thatcher's time, the Americans, I don't know whether you remember, invaded Grenada.
Yes.
Which was actually a British territory. And no one had told the Queen. In fact, I don't think anyone had told Maggie Thatcher either. No one seemed to know. It just happened. So the next meeting that Margaret Thatcher had with the Queen, there was only one chair. And that wasn't for Maggie. And I heard that. I don't know how true it is. I heard that. And that, I think, would have sent 10,000 messages out on the, so I wonder if
it does,
that would
yes.
happen with, I wonder if Charles was upset when we gave the Chagos Islands away.
No,
or when we gave over when we handed over the borders of Gibraltar to the Spanish. I wonder if he was actually inviting. He probably invited him in for champagne.
Yes, it wasn't just one chair. I bet he had his staff bring every chair available and just bring anybody. Come and sit down. It's wonderful. We've got so much to make up to the rest of the people of the world that we colonized, and we did terrible things. So we just need to give everything away. Give our country away.
Yes. Well, Ashley Styles says that Mossad runs the country or something.
All righty.
Yeah. And funded by corporations. Yeah. Yes. And someone still thinks I'm a Jew for some unknown reason. Jeffy the Jew deleting my comments. I'll tell you what, I haven't deleted any comments. I'm not doing any deleting.
He's certainly not Jewish. He's recently converted to Orthodoxy and not Jewish Orthodoxy.
Jewish Orthodoxy, no.
No, exactly. And it's a route I'm taking as well, so nothing Jewish going on here.
Yes. It looks like he's taking after the last two kings named Charles. Yeah. Yeah. It really does sort of annoy me because, the next thing, I think, the next big thing, I've got this gut feeling that they're planning to hand the Falkland Islands over to the Argentine government at some stage. It'll start off with a sort of a sovereignty sharing thing, it's like this with Gibraltar. We're just sharing the border with Spain just to make things easier. Yeah, right, okay. That will just gradually disappear. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Death Smiles at Us. Found your channel a week ago. Thank you both for what you do. America's behind the British people. I'm seeing this more and more, This whole US thing is that they're looking back and saying, actually, we like the Brits. We want them to succeed. We want them to be friends with us, and we want them to buy our cars, probably. But no, this is good, which we've got.
Yes.
It goes right from the top down. Trump and the rest, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, I think they all have a respect for us and our position in history. The only people that don't have a respect for that is the UK establishment. It wants to get rid of it, destroy it, wants to rid itself of all this, colonial and white privilege or something. It's not helping the youngsters of today, is it? The left behind white young boys that aren't going to university so much. It's not helping them, is it?
Yes, no.
All that white privilege and that colonial rubbish isn't helping them, is it?
No.
Yeah, so...
a lot of people who talk about colonialism and the slave trade they conveniently forget that it was the British practically who abolished the slave trade globally. Well, within not globally, the international slave trade. It was Britain, and was it 10,000 British seamen gave their lives to end slavery a long time ago. And this has been a practice since goodness knows when. And most slaves, African slaves, incidentally, were captured by Africans, not by Brits. In fact, like the lion's share. In fact, I believe it was the slave trade was when British merchant ships and various other vessels went and actually docked in Africa, in North Africa and West Africa to take the slaves. It was actually a purchase. It was a purchase. The slavery had already begun. It was... Yeah. This was a business. Not a good business, incidentally. It was pure evil. No. Pure evil. But there's more slaves now in Africa than there were back in the slave trade, the days of the slave trade. That's still taking place now. And I can tell you, and I know this for a fact that right across the Middle East, there are slaves where you have mostly young women from Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines who have their passports taken off them by their owners, effectively. And they work, I believe, 12-hour days, 7 days a week in horrific conditions. And they're allowed to send back home, I think, whatever wages they have. But those wages are, we're talking working for, what, £1 an hour? £1 an hour. And if that, hideous.
Yeah, here's a good one. He's defended nothing but got all the medals. Yeah, they've all got lots of medals, haven't they? Hundreds and hundreds of them.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, just talking about the slave trade and this whole concept, everybody thinks that huge ships arrived off the coast of Africa. Hundreds of white men went into the forest, rounded up women and children and men and forced them into chains and then brought them on board the boat. If you have a look at a slave trading vessel, it's not that big. It has a very, very small skeleton crew. I don't know, 7 to 10. And they chain all the slaves up because they don't want the slaver sailors on the boat. They want as few of them as possible because they can get more slaves on board. Then they chain them all out on the floor, and then they take them across. And when they get to the other end, the slavers get a share of the profits, depending on how many of them remain at the end of the journey. So you can imagine the last 2 days, every single slaver is standing up and staying awake, because if they fall asleep, they're overboard. That's how bad it was. That's how evil and nasty the slaver ships were. The worst of all. And if they thought the Royal Navy was catching up with them, they used to just throw the slaves overboard.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Royal Navy put a stop to that. And so we should be proud of our history. And that's why it's
damn right,
important.
Jeff.
Things
Well
like
said,
Goodwin Sands should be...
Yes.
The Goodwin Sands should be protected from... It's 10 miles... It's, according to the screed, 10 miles, whatever. But it should be protected.
Absolutely well said there, Jeff. Yes, and our monarch should be... I mean, if anyone's going to be doing it, should be doing the protecting, it should be him. Yeah, it's unfathomable, really, to think that we have a monarch who is not on our side and has no concern for our heritage, our past, and is quite eager to usher in a new heritage and probably rewrite our history in many respects. Very concerning, Jeff.
Yeah. This question just came up again, just joined. How on earth can anyone own the seabed? That's from Alec Martin. I was trying to explain earlier that the seabed itself is part of the Crown Estates. And it's the Crown Estates is controlled by the Crown Estate Commissioners. So they're presumably appointed by somebody. They're not voted in, they're appointed by somebody to run the Crown Estates. And it's the collection of lands and holdings in the UK, which includes land and the seabed. Because if you want to exploit the seabed, someone's got to own it to earn the money, haven't they? So if it all belongs to the Crown Estate, which is part of the land of us, our land, it belongs to the state, it therefore belongs to us. It's part of the sovereign's public estate. So it doesn't belong to the government, but it doesn't belong to the king's private estates either. So it's a separate entity. But it's all come about because of the way the king used to own all the land, and then gradually, the people have been taking control over everything. And that's how it's morphed over time into this complex sort of system. I mean, one day there will have to be a total removal, I think, of any aspect of the crown and just call it British territory. It just seems to make sense. That is going to have to happen.
No, I disagree. I think if we had a proper king, he could have the bloody lot as far as I'm concerned, as long as he apportioned it and looked after it properly. I don't care. I want a king who'll stand up for this country. A Christian king. That's what I want. It's probably what most of us want. We haven't got one. We've got something else. So I'm just reading here in the BBC. In pictures. How lovely. King Charles begins summer stay at Balmoral. Oh, lovely. And it says, the king has marked the start of his summer residency at Balmoral with a military ceremony involving a Shetland pony. And okay, and there's
sorry,
a photo.
The pictures coming out of that one are not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there's a
Don't
picture
even
of the
go
king
there, Richard.
with a Shetland pony, and he's stroking it lovingly, and
That's enough.
yeah,
That's
okay.
enough.
But but the whole thing, it's like I'll just carry on a second. King Charles inspected regimental mascot, Corporal Crutcher III, as the animal stood with handler. Hang on, the mascot is called Corporal Crutchen. Sorry, the fourth, as the animal stood with handler. Corporal Rory Stewart. So the actual hang on. So the pony's a corporal, is it?
Absolutely, in charge. Got a platoon.
I say, how can you have a Shetland pony as a corporal? Okay, there's some. It's gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, and and all these are like nice little ceremonies, for him to go and stay in Balmoral, and how lovely. I mean, I want a ceremony like that. Look, Jeff, I'm sorry, but when eventually I do get a holiday, I want a full military ceremony, and I want a Shetland pony, and that's it. In fact, I want 4 Shetland ponies. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Lord Viking Live says Epping victory. Well, it was an epic victory, wasn't it? But we'll see how the appeal goes if one is made, and we'll see what changes to the law Labour makes to make sure that all hotels can be used as such, whatever the position, because that's how they'll do it in the end, I'm sure. It'll be bad optics, though, but it's going to be bad optics whatever they do, because they've decided that we have to have open borders. And it doesn't matter what happens, they're just going to come in here and we have to live with it. So that's what they've decided.
Yeah, did I read something today that Nigel Farage, I think it was saying, praising the protesters and saying we need to protest and it's good, and we're winning, this is us winning, highly praising the whole thing where basically because what's happened in the Epping Hotel is now going to spread right across the country, whereas Labour I think would be desperately right now trying to put a lid on all this. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think this has gone too far. Right now, that the one thing that Labour has to worry about is everything. That's the one thing Labour have to worry about, is absolutely everything.
Everything.
I'm just reading here reading the Telegraph here. Labour asylum plans in turmoil after court orders migrant hotel closure. And it says here, Nigel Farage calls for protests to force more councils into taking legal action. At last Nigel Farage is saying something. Has he actually been to any of these protests, Jeff? I haven't seen him at any.
No, but some of these protests, I think most people thought the protests would just be 5 people in a placard turning up, waving it for 5 minutes and walking off. They started off bigger than that, 20, 30, 40, and now they're turning into hundreds. So of people at each one. So I'm thinking that he will very soon start turning up. Like both the ones I went to, the one in Bournemouth. In fact, I've been to several, but I went to one in Bournemouth, which is one of the bigger ones in Bournemouth. Nick Tenconi was there. Gave a great speech. I mean, it really, really got to the heart of it. I didn't put it up on this channel. I put it up on Twitter. I didn't put it up on this channel here because it might have just bent the algorithm a little bit. But Nick Tenconi
it was a passionate
was
speech.
Also, Yeah, very patriotic speech. And Nick Tenconi was also at the one I went to in Southampton on the weekend. So he's getting himself out and about and attracting lots of film footage from the police, by the way. Oh, they were out there with their film cameras, weren't they, filming us all? And I pointed my camera at them, so I was filming them, filming me. Yes.
Yeah.
So here is, thank you very much to Paper Domino 44. The mother of parliaments and democracy, the Industrial Revolution, the abolishment of slavery, the stand it took against many tyrants at times alone. Be proud of our heritage and our nation. Yep, we've stood up, haven't we? We've stood up, haven't we? We really have. We've played our part. And actually, the Second World War completely and utterly destroyed our economic successes. And we lost almost everything after that, trying to free Europe from tyranny. And it was, believe it or not, it was the good old USA that made sure we parted with a lot of our cash trying to buy guns and ships and all the rest of it. So, yeah, we might return the favour one day. No, but, yeah, it's we have a proud heritage, a proud history, and those that decry it should, you know, if they come here thinking, I don't like it here, then I'm sorry. Go to somewhere else you do like.
Go somewhere else.
And that's it.
You don't have to stay here. We don't have to change our society, our culture, and our heritage just because you don't like it. I mean, there are places. Yeah. It's like this, okay? If I went to a country, I'm not going to name the names of any countries, but if I went to a country and I got there and I thought, I don't like it here, I don't think I'd probably want to stay. That's the funny thing. You know, I don't think I'd want to stay. But then again, if I then bumped into a load of people, a load of friends, and they said, hey, guess what? We can change it here. And honestly, they'll just give in. They'll just give in, they will. We can change it. And it's not just that, then. You then find out that the king of this land is like, yes, you can change it. And we welcome you here, and we will change for you. Then I might go, maybe I'll stay. Maybe I will stay.
Yeah.
And not just that. Yeah. What if then they say, well, actually, if you stay, we'll put you up in a hotel. Oh, hang on. This is starting to sound pretty good. And yeah, you can work on the black economy, cash in hand. You could earn 52 grand a year doing that. I'm like, what? Really? Like,
free healthcare.
And you get free healthcare, mobile phone. I'll be going, hang on, I like the sound of this country. When can I move? Where? I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Only one thing though, to get there, you may have to dispose of your passport as well. I'm like, okay, yep, right, off it goes. Bye.
Yeah. Now, Von Helfinger says the Crown is an insurance policy against tyrannical parliamentarians. Yes, that's the constitutional monarchy's sort of position. However, we've had a bit of tyranny in the last few years, haven't we, with the pandemic and various other things. And I don't remember anyone speaking out about it or protecting us at all.
Quite the opposite.
In fact, it was quite the opposite. Yes, we ended up being told that you must not go outside. You have to stay at home. It wasn't an ask. It was an order. It wasn't. And they didn't use the emergency powers that they've got because they only lasted, 28 days. They went for the full on, Act of Parliament with all the bells and whistles to it. And then they decided that at one point we were virtually on the verge of having mandated armed interventions. Yep. Now, if that isn't, and that actually goes against international law.
Yes,
because it was experimental and the whole thing. Yes.
They I mean, Her Majesty, the Queen, didn't she say, it doesn't hurt? Oh, really? Well, I can think of a few people that it really bloody well has hurt. It hurt them so much that it killed them.
Yeah. Yes. And thank you, Wisdom Nuggets Tidbits. We in America are proud of our mother country, England and the UK as a whole. We are brothers and sisters. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
and
thank you
for that. Spot on. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you.
Yes. No wonder Harry left. Oh, yeah.
Do you know, I agree. I agree. I look at Harry and I think, do you know, you plonker in so many things. And, I don't think he made the best choice in life in terms of a bride. But hey ho, I've made that mistake in the past years ago. And we all make silly mistakes. But at the end of the day, it's like this, Jeff, right? That family. What if he knows? We're hearing now about in this book. Apparently, I'm not sure that there might have been an altercation between Prince Andrew and Prince Harry, a bit of fisticuffs at dawn, apparently. And I mean, the rumours are it could have had something to do with Meghan. I don't know what that would have been, but who knows? Yeah. And because Andrew did know Meghan apparently from a while back, prior to Harry meeting her. I'm not sure of the truth. Well, I'm not sure the truth of this. This is what's out in there.
Spread the rumour.
Well, this was in the press. This was actually the other day. I was like, oh, okay. I think it was the Daily Mail, actually. I don't know what it was. Anyway, it might be an absolute load of tosh as well, incidentally. These are just the things that have been circulating, and we can report on things that are circulating. But, yeah, Harry, that family... every time it was like you'd have a dig, and it was like, oh no, the king's upset, the queen's upset. I'm like, and you just upset the queen. Her husband's just died. And I thought, yes, that is a bad thing, terrible. And then at the memorial service for Prince Philip, the queen's there, and who's she there with? Right at the height of the scandal, she's been escorted there by her favourite son, Prince Andrew. And I'm like, okay, this is your way of saying, don't look at my son. Don't question my son. Don't question us. We are beyond reproach. And it sent a very strong message out. So when I see Harry possibly damaging the British royal family, I think, well done, lad. Well done. Because this family is not the one we need to have as our taking the place of the crown, holding the crown and passing it on. We need a different family. We do indeed need a monarchy, though. And not a constitutional one. I think we need a proper, actual, full-on royal king with all the powers to sort this country out. Because nobody else is going to do it, are they? It's going to take a strong person of some magnitude to sort this country out. Whether it's a king, a politician, an activist, I don't know. It's going to take someone strong to lead us through the dark times we are heading into. Because civil war is looking increasingly like it's on the horizon. And we don't want that. Yeah. But if that's going to happen, we need somebody to emerge and say, hang on a second, let's calm this down and let's bring people together. There we go.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it, really? But, I just find it amazing that, going back to topic, that the trust over the Goodwin Sands that wrote to the palace and asked them to get the king to object to any further dredging in that area, and they were just referred on to the Crown Estates. Off you go. And I thought, it should have been a bit more hands-on there, and he should be saying, right, no, I think you're right, and I will talk to the Crown Estates. He may not be able to order them under the Crown Estate, sort of how it's set up, but I think they'd take some notice. So there you go. And if you're talking about having a monarchy, but if you could say we could have a presidency, we could become a republic, couldn't we, and have a president. But I'd be just as worried about who we got as president. If you look at the US, it's the biggest billionaires, isn't it? The big billionaires that are the only ones that stand any chance at all of becoming a president. And I think that would end up being the same here. I think what we actually need, is a lottery every 5 years. And it's not a lottery you apply for. It's someone takes a name out of the hat of everyone in the country, everyone, over the age of 18, and the person who gets their name taken out becomes the king, whether they want to or not. They're forced into the palace. You're going to be there for 5 years. You're going to open everything. You're going to open the bridges. You're going to get everything you want. You will live the life of a king. You will travel the world and do all these wonderful things, but you just keep your mouth shut. Don't pontificate, and you'll be well rewarded for doing so. There you go. How's that for an idea?
Yeah, we'll end up with Queen Kylie. You know, it's like it's like, you know, we are now crowning Queen Chantal Kylie Jordan III,
Richard, that would be great because she'd get on so well with our Ange, wouldn't she? Angela Rayner.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So right. It's Wednesday. And now we got right. Bring Mr. Starmer in. Bring him in. Right. You sit right by there. Right now, tell me now, Keir. What have you been doing? Come on, lad. Oh, let us know some goss. What's the international goss? What's the Secret Service has been telling you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'll go down well. That'll go down well. That'll be good. That'll be great. Nothing like a good counsel from the monarch.
Oh, look at this one. I like this one. Jack Britton says, right said Fred are looking old.
I'm too sexy for my ass.
Yes, I remember right said Fred. Yes. Here we go. Here's Afenna 755. Thanks very much. If there was a lottery and I won, I would make you two my right-hand men.
Thank you
nice
very much. Thank you. We're up for it. We'll do it for the right money. We'll do anything. You know, I suppose we're supposedly shilling for Israel, so we might as well. You know, anything. We are complete. Yeah. We're really cheap, to be honest with you. Yeah, really cheap to control.
Always have been.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, speak for yourself, actually. I used to have standards once upon a time until I met you.
yeah. But I've got standards, and if you don't like them, I've got others. So don't worry about it.
That's a good one. Well, I like that. That's a good line, Jeff. Ooh,
well, that's an old one from who said that? Was it the Marx Brothers? One of the Marx Brothers said that.
They were so good. They were so good.
Something like it's like the one saying, any club that would have me as a member isn't worth joining. You know.
Yes. Oh, Duck Soup and was it A Night at the Opera classics? Oh no, one of my favorites is the Marx Brothers Go West. That is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they were well ahead of their time, weren't they? Yeah, look at this. I mean, when you it's just gone. Someone's just said. Here it is. Wayne H, thanks. Yeah, I heard it costs more than $100 million for the US presidency. Yeah, they have to collect so much money, and if you haven't got several tens of millions under your belt, you stand no chance at all. You can't get anything done. You can't. You know, it's one of the biggest things. The big sign of how popular you are is the amount of money you get from other people to stand for it. And in this country, we try to stop people collecting money for that sort of thing, don't we? Yes. Oh, here we go. Elvis is the king, says MRAW8933.
Turn my mic on. Yeah. Well, here's something some of you may not know. Okay. Now, years ago, this is true, incidentally, I played with what was, at the time, I think it was regarded as one of the top 2 Elvis tribute bands in the world. I was a bass player, and I got to play with Elvis's backing singers from the 70s, the Sweet Inspirations, and I got to play as a bass player. It was a deep honor to play with the very, very first, probably the very, very first rock and roll drummer, DJ Fontana, who was Elvis's drummer. And that was some incredible experiences. Now, the thing is, I was never really an Elvis fan. I wasn't. But I played with such great musicians. The band I was in, they were just amazing musicians. And I went on to do so many things then musically because of that. But that was, I got to say, playing in front of arenas and stadiums, that was fun. And the West End, great times. And I have to thank Elvis for that. So is he the king? No, but but thanks for the music anyway. Thanks for the music.
Yeah. And on the Marx Brothers type approach, John Johnson says any party that would have Richard Tice as a member can't be that fussy.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And this is us, von Sauerkraut. This is too sexy for my hair.
You got it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yes. The other side is that if you don't collect money for elections like they do in America, like people do here on a much, much more moderate level, because spending is actually capped. If you want to stand for Parliament, you can only spend so much money on your campaign, and you have to put in accounts afterwards to say that you didn't overspend on your campaign. And it is quite limiting, because some people think, oh, I'm rich enough, I want to put planes up above in the air all the time with my name, on a banner behind the aeroplane flying around. That would get rid of your allowance probably in about 3 days, doing something like that. So we are very, very restricted compared to the rest of it. When they used to, they run these big by-elections, at critical points, there is a by-election that is really important that someone wins, that the government is desperate to win it, and the opposition wants to win it because it's such a critical time in politics at that time. And we've seen them in the lead up to Brexit. There was a couple and all this sort of thing, and everybody's trying to get all their activists in there. So they try to get all their activists in there for free, or they try to put it on the national account, not the local MP race account, if you see what I mean. And it does cause problems having these limits on spending. And then someone overspends, and what happens? Well, pretty much nothing. And you only get a year to go through the accounts to check up and see if they have overspent. And even then you got to prove it. So I'm not so sure about all that. The other option, of course, is having a lot of people want the state to pay for people's campaigns. If you have an election, you don't collect money on your own, so you haven't got any to spend, and the state will give you the money that you can use. But the trouble is that would be based on, presumably, who won the last election would get the most money for the next one. So it's all, how do you do it? Anyway, that's just another thing.
Well, Jeff, to be honest with you, I think
there you go. Yeah, I didn't know you were a bass player, Richard. Respects from me. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Do you know what? I've sold most of my guitars. Downstairs now. I've got a double bass left. I've got a fretless, and I've got I sold those, and I had to get myself, because I always wanted a pitch black P bass, Fender Precision, and yeah, I sold loads to be able to afford to buy that P bass, and I sold my classical guitars and electric guitars. I sold a lot. I was skint. There we go. I was in a bad financial position. I had to. But that's the way it goes.
But now we're looking at buying him another guitar so that he can play little ditties for you during our live streams. Sit there and strum something to you. Yeah,
it'll be impressive. It'll be a classical guitar, and there'll be 60 seconds songs at most, and they'll be at the end of live streams, and they will be singing about things like the state of the nation, we'll say. Yes. Bespoke. In each song will be an original on the spot. Other than at Christmas time, we're going to start doing Christmas carols. We've got to get Christmas carols going, okay? So, yeah. Right. Jeff?
Carol Georgina says, Jeff and Richard, how do I join the Orthodox Church? What you do is you go on Google, and the first thing you do is you locate the nearest 2 or 3. Then what you need to do is generally, I mean, mine is 45 minutes away in a car. I have to make the effort to go there. So make the effort to go to one or two of them. And if you like one of them, keep going. Make yourself known to the priest. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And in the end, you'll go through a process, and then you can either be chrismated or baptized, depending on your position. And that's how you do it. It's not hard. It's a commitment. It's not like turning up at weddings and funerals that a Church of England do and calling yourself a Christian. No, it's a bit more than that. So
oh yes, much more involved. Yeah. And there's one comment here by Jameson. Richard is our John Entwistle. Actually, John Entwistle from The Who, the late bass player of The Who, my style is quite close to his. So my bass playing style, yeah. Well, one of my bass playing styles. Right, Jeff, we have got to go, sir.
We've got to go. Yeah, I'm hungry. Lunch. Yes. So like, subscribe and comment below, and please think about becoming a channel member so that you can support us in a little bit more, and you get a bit of extra content now and again from us, which will be good. And thank you very much. And on that note, I'll just say thank you very much for watching, and it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Goodbye.
Goodbye.